Let me ask you something. Have you ever listened to someone who was technically good at speaking, clear voice, strong posture, confident tone, but you felt nothing? Now think about the opposite. Someone shares a simple story. Maybe it's not perfect. Maybe it's even messy, and the entire room leans in. That's not charisma. That's not volume. That's not even talent. That's story. And if you want to be a polished communicator, not just a loud one, you have to understand this. Story is what turns information into influence. So today, I'm going to break down why story works neurologically and emotionally, how story builds authority without arrogance, and what separates a storyteller from a polished communicator, and how this can apply to you, whether you're a student, an educator, or a leader. So let's get into it. Point number one, story creates emotional entry. This is the presence and the resonance. Most people try to communicate through facts first, but facts don't move people. I mean, again, you have all of the analytics. I'm sure you have the data points and numbers but that's not what really drives people. That's not what anchors. It's stories. Stories do. Why? Because story gives the brain context. When you tell a story, the listener sees themselves in it. They get to imagine it. They get to envision it. They get to put themselves in the story that you're telling, especially if you're being very vivid with the way that you're explaining it. And their emotions activate. Their defenses lower. So before I even teach the P.O.W.E.R framework, I share a moment I almost lost my voice, literally and metaphorically. I always start with, a few years ago I died. And because of the way I tell that story, people are locked in. They're hooked in. They need to know what happened because you're in front of me, so you are alive, so you are not dead, but you said that you were dead, so now we have to have this conversation. Troncoso, what's going on? So that's why you start with that hook. You start with that start, and then you go through the nuances of the conversation. You paint the picture of what went on. You paint the picture of what you went through, what hallways you passed, the smell of the room. Because of the fact that you make this very literal as a picture, I get to be a part of it. Your audience gets to be a part of it. The people you speak to get to be a part of it. And that story does something that slides could never. It creates emotional entry. And this is presence in action. You're not just talking at people. You're inviting them into an experience. And when you do that consistently, you create resonance. Because you leave people. Polished communicators don't just speak clearly. They speak in a way that lingers, that the effect lands and stays. Story is what lingers. Point number two, story builds authority without ego. And this is the ownership part. A lot of people think authority comes from credentials, titles, badges, name tags. No. These degrees, titles, years of experience. But in communication, authority comes from proximity. So if you've ever, lived it, if you coached it, if you survived it, you don't have to posture. You just share. Again, experience always beats education, and stories allow you to demonstrate ownership without saying, I'm the expert. You don't have to say it because we hear you. When I tell a story about watching brilliant students stay silent out of fear, I'm not flexing. I'm just letting you know that happened. I'm telling you, I've seen it. I get it. And that will beat me showing you all of the things I have done. I have been somebody who has been heralded as a national championship level winning coach, and I've done all the things. And yes, I've coached everywhere in Ivy Leagues, and yes, but story is what anchors you to keep listening. So I'm not flexing. I am illustrating the problem. And that's what polished communicators understand. You don't tell people you're credible. You just show them. You can't just talk about it, you got to be about it. Story is proof, and that's ownership. Point number 3, polished communicators don't ramble, they structure story. Here's where most people mess up. They think storytelling means, let me just talk about my life, let me just yap. No. Polished communicators structure story. They know where it starts. They know where the tension builds. They know where the lesson lands. Every story needs 3 things: a struggle, a shift, and a takeaway. Struggle. This was the problem. This is what I went through. Struggle. Shift. This is what changed. And takeaway. This is what I learned from it. This is what it means for you. If you skip the takeaway, you entertain people. If you include the takeaway, you transform, because now I know what you went through and now I know what I can do to be better. And that's the difference. So with this now, I land the plane and I ask that if you want to be a powerful communicator, you have to be inquisitive. So would you stop asking, how can I sound more confident? That ain't never going to work. Start asking, what story explains this lesson? And how can I be concise and precise as I give that? Because story builds presence, it creates connection, and it establishes authority. So if you want to increase retention and make your message human, bring us into your world. You don't need to be fearless to be powerful. You need structure. You need clarity. You need story. So make sure that that is the foundation before you do anything. And because I'm a former teacher, I have an assignment for your next presentation, your class discussion, your next meeting, your next keynote, your next conversation. Write down 1 story that illustrates your main point, not 3. 1. Build it, structure it, deliver it, do it scared, and watch what happens. And if this helped you, drop story in the comments. And if you're serious about mastering communication, leadership, presence, like all of those things, subscribe, because we out here. We are out here, and we don't just speak. We speak with power.